guys, and welcome to my April setup video. And I am not gonna lie, I'm not super happy with how this theme turned out, and I was really debating whether or not to post this video at all. But one of my main goals for this year has been to post every setup video for each month. And it's only March, and I was like, I can't abandon that goal so quickly. I will go more into the issues I have with this spread when I'm doing my weeklies, so stay tuned for that. But the inspiration for this spread or this theme is the proverb that says April showers bring May flowers. I wanted to try something a little different and go a little bit more abstract and focus more on the water and rain without doing raindrops. My title page is just 4 different blues that I picked out from my box of Crayola Super Tips, and I'm putting them in their own little bubbles, and I actually do go on top of that to try and make this kind of wavy, watery line motif on top of each color in a fine liner that is the darker color after it. So I'm using like 4 different fine liners and 4 different Crayola markers, but it's not as noticeable as I would have liked because of the streakiness from the markers, because they're water-based pigments. But I do think it is a very interesting concept. I also want to apologize if you guys see my hair pop up every once in a while. I did get too close to the camera when I was trying to do some of this stuff, and it did get in the frame, but just ignore that little bit. It's fine. I've also decided to utilize the left side of this title page spread, which I haven't normally done, with 3 boxes that I'm hoping to use for like bigger goals this month, hopefully focusing on like 3 different areas of my life. I've just kind of noticed that my months have been getting a little aimless, so hopefully this will help me reach smaller steps in my long-term goals. And I don't know which 3 areas I'm going to focus on yet, but I better figure that out soon because it's almost April. Next, I have my exercise calendar and my funds tracker. And of course, I have to take a cat break because my sister's cat, Oreo, thought I was working way too hard and he was not getting enough attention. It's either him or his sister that normally comes to bother me at least once while I'm sitting and working at my desk. His sister doesn't really like being picked up or sitting on desks, so she's probably never going to be on camera, but she does make noise walking around my chair asking for attention. Which is arguably even more effective because I have to stop everything I'm doing to address whatever she's mad about. Anyways, for my exercise spread, I do keep whole weeks together, so even though I'm missing at least 3 days of the month on this exercise spread, I don't really mind. Next month in May, my exercise spread will actually be 5 weeks long because it's going to incorporate the last 3 days in April, and it will also have the first day of June. Some people don't like this, and that's completely understandable, but this is just easier for me personally to keep track of everything by keeping my weeks together. I know other YouTubers do this, and Jashi Curran actually tracks her Bujo in cycles of 4 weeks, no matter the month, which I actually think is kind of cool. Anyways, for the design on this page, I'm basically just making these wave shapes in the gradient that I've chosen for the markers to decorate the edges of the page. And then that is it for this spread. And then we're going on to my weeklies. Each weekly is going to be a different color of the gradation. And I'm drawing my lines with a ruler because I kind of like the contrast with the straight lines and the circular design elements and then the abstract wavy water. I'm going to go over my layout real quick, and then I'm going to go into why I'm not a huge fan of this design. So I have 8 boxes on the right side of the spread. 1 is for goals, and the other 7 are for each day of the week. And on the left side of the spread, I'm doing something a little different. I have a micro calendar to help me keep track of where I am in the month, and a box for my moods that hasn't changed. but I'm adding a couple of other elements in here to help me keep track of my mental health. There is some things going on in my life right now that's made it really hard on my mental health, so I'm building in some safeguards into my weeklies to try and help me manage that. This month is kind of going to be a trial run, and we'll see how it goes. I might switch it up for April, I'm not sure yet. I'm adding a section on the bottom that I'm just going to call Take a Breath. I'm going to use this section for when I'm feeling overwhelmed, depressed, angry, basically any big emotion where I feel like I need to pause and just breathe for a couple of minutes. In this section there are 2 boxes. One is labeled Can Control and the other is labeled Can't Control. In these situations that seem like really overwhelming, I'm going to take note of the things that are out of my control and that I have to let go of. They are things that I have to try my best not to let them control my day, my life, my time, which is very valuable. The other box is for me to write down things I can control in the situation, like my own reactions or how I'm going to maintain my boundaries. I think this will just help me maintain perspective in the situations that have been taking a toll on my mental health. Like, I cannot control what other people do, but I can control whether or not I participate and enable that behavior. Or I cannot control how other people treat me, but I can control how I react to that treatment. I'm also putting in a section here that I just labeled Self-Care Evening, and I'm going to try and take at least one night a week just for me so I can do something that I know will be relaxing and that will make me feel good. And it can't be me feeling bad about not being able to get out of bed or something. I want to intentionally set aside time to do something that is not productive or on my giant list of things to do, so it can be guilt-free enjoyment. This is intentional self-care time where I will read a book, take a bath, draw something, and not worry about filming it. Something that is for me and guilt-free. And I have to do it and make a little doodle about it because there's a very conspicuous empty spot in my weekly spreads that makes it incomplete until I do the self-care. So we'll try it and see if it works, see what happens. And while I'm doing the rest of those weeklies, I just want to go over why I'm not a huge fan of this. My overarching kind of theme for this year was kind of simple and approachable. I wanted to do themes that I could accomplish with basically a fine liner and my Crayola super tips, both to bring simplicity back into my life and to show you that you can do bullet journaling without all the very expensive bells and whistles that kind of accumulate over time. So that is what I did for this spread. That being said, I do think this design needed gouache instead of the Crayola super tips because the Crayolas are water-based pigments. Whenever I tried to lay down a solid stretch of color, it was very streaky, which normally I'm that's fine, it's not a huge deal, but it was actually a pretty big detractor here because you weren't able to see the line work because of that. And because I was also limited in my color selection, I had to pick stuff that was in my ginormous box of Crayola super tips, I wasn't able to get 4 different blues that had a high enough contrast from each other to show up really well in the gradient. Which of course you could mix yourself if you were using gouache. So I might do this theme again, maybe in 2026 or 2027, just to see how it would look in gouache, because I really do like the concept here, just not so good on the execution, if that makes sense. Anyways, here's the final flip through. Let me know what you guys think, if you agree with me about the gouache, and let me know what your themes are this April. I know there's a lot of cherry blossom themes and other flower stuff, and I'm curious to know what you guys picked. Anyways, hopefully I'll see you guys soon, and I wish you all luck on your own journal spreads, even though they're probably done since it is March 31st when I'm filming this voiceover. Anyways, don't get into too much trouble out there, and I hope you stay creative.